Welcome back to another series of paper, because there's a new paper, October, November 2025. So let's do it. First off, the paper question. Open examine the weather data.csv in file spreadsheet application. So I got that one here. So you're gonna open it. I'm just gonna double click it, and automatically it opens itself in Excel. For some of you don't have the luxury of double clicking and directly for the Excel to give you this table, you can always copy paste the CSV by opening it manually. Right click and open with a notepad, and when you have this, highlight all, copy, and when you got to this point you can paste and then do a text to column option with the delimited selected and the comma selected. So you'll be having this layout of data, which is the same with what I have originally by double clicking the file. Now we're going to use the ones that I opened in the first place, which is this one. Let's go with the question. Now the question says hide all columns except date, direction of highest wind gust, and main wind direction column. So I want except these three, others should be hidden. Close this one first. Okay, let's go back to the Excel. Date, right? Direction highest wind gust, direction of highest wind gust, and the main wind direction column. Main wind direction column. Others should be hidden. So I'm gonna select that by pressing Control in the columns and holding it while clicking the other, so that I have multiple selection for the columns. Right click on the one of the columns and hide. So now I have 3 of these as the main data that I'm going to use. Save the data as wind analysis. So I'm going to save this by just Control save or Control S, but you shouldn't do that because sometimes Cambridge want the original data to be untouched. So you always want to have a version that is asked by the examiner, so or the requirements for the exam. So I'm gonna do that instead of this Control S, wind analysis, and along with your information. Okay. What is that? I'm gonna do one, and follow blah, 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 as a spreadsheet. So do not save it as CSV. They want it as a spreadsheet. So Excel workbook should be fine. So I'm gonna put it here, and I have that as my file that I want to edit. Now the wind direction is given as the angle the wind was coming from. The image shows what winds any directions are called. For example, wind direction of 40 degree would be called northeasterly. So the range in this table describes the wind directions. Okay, so from 0 to 89, etc. have its own information of what it's called in the wind direction. So these would be it. Notice that the wind classes as northwesterly would go from 315 degree to 0. But then at 0 to 45 is northeast. So there's got to be a overlapping information, overlapping data in which some of these or at least one of them have. So we're gonna go on with the next part. Create a table to count the number of days for each kind of the wind, like this. So I'm gonna create this table into my Excel. They don't say should it be a different sheet or workbook or just a new worksheet at the bottom as a new tab. So I'm gonna just do in a new tab and call this comparative chart or chart. Direction of wind, number of days with the highest wind gust, and number of days of main wind direction. let's put a good length of spaces, and then should be 4 of them with borders. Northeasterly, southeasterly, southwesterly, and northwesterly. Looking at the information that they want us to put, again, there's a range to it. If it's northeasterly, it's between these data, etc., etc. For the rest, okay, they have their own range of data that we should follow. The number of days with the highest wind gust. So we're gonna compare or analyze the data that we have. The highest one would be taking the max number of days. Oh no, it's count for this one, because they want how many days that we have wind that's blowing to the northeasterly, and number of days of main wind direction. So we have this data as wind direction and highest wind gust from here. So these are the directions. So what we want is how many times will it appear. So the idea is to count on how many times that it's between 0 to 89. So what we're gonna do is the count if the range from here to n, it's more than, what is it, 0 to 89. So more than 0 or more than equal to 0. Now notice that I use a quotation for the first part of the criteria and then use an ampersand to concatenate the numbers or the value that I want. If you go directly using this, it won't read. So we're gonna do like that. So 92 would be it, because these are all still counting whatever it is that's above 0. So we want to add another if. So what we want to do is put or use count ifs instead. So first criteria is that one, and then a second criteria would be below or equal to 89. So again, below equal to 89. Sorry, what am I missing? Criteria range. Oh, I need to put the range again in this section, right? Sorry, in between the comma. So after the first one. So that would be the argument. So it's 18 for the first one. So this works. So I'm gonna put it in my chart instead. So equal to count ifs. The first criteria target or range, it would be this table with the value of it being more than equal to 0, ampersand, sorry, this one should be 0, comma, and then the second criteria would be the same table or the same range with something that goes like less than equal to what was it, 89. So we have 18. The second one is southeasterly. It goes from 90, so equal to 9 and more than equal to 90, to up to 179. Okay, for the southeasterly. So I'm gonna do the same thing, but this time we're gonna change the value instead. So right now this one needs to be in absolute reference. So when we copy the formula, it doesn't move. Okay, it doesn't move. So we're gonna put that in and then copy the formula, and then on the second part, instead of it being 0, it should be 90, and this one should be how much? 179. First one would be 180. The last part would be 269. And we got, and then the last one, it's 270. sorry, to 359. Now, if you look at this, the highest number, if I'm doing a checkup on this, the max number on this would be 360, which it doesn't fall on any other category. So again, if we look at the northwesterly, the data from the question is from 270 and to up to 359, but we have several data that goes up to 360. If you want to know how many, you can just put count, which is coming from this to this, that is or count if the range has something that is more than 359. We just want to make sure that how many is actually above the 359. So we have two of them, which is 360. But you know, if we use the original formula from the previous one, which is following the highest range, which is 359, it won't count. So instead of 359, I change it to 360. There's another way to categorize the or have the count if you don't want to decide yourself the highest range value here, which is using a VLOOKUP. There is a way to make sure that the range falls under what. So in this case, we have all of this, right? All of this data of direction of the highest wind gust. You can always use a VLOOKUP, right? And then the lookup value will be using, let's pretend that we create a table here from 0. What is the range? 0, 89. So the next one would be 90, right? 90, and then 180, and then 270. And then we can call it this. I'm gonna copy mine instead, so I'm gonna put it here, so as a table for reference, right? So if you use a VLOOKUP for this, so this is an alternative way to see how many of each of this category or range appears for each of the wind direction. Okay, so VLOOKUP, the lookup value would be coming from this guy, okay, the value of direction of highest wind gust, and then the table array will be coming from this two, and then return the second table array with a 1 or approximate match. So in this case, we have a southeasterly for 158, okay, southeasterly, because 90 up to 180 would be a southeasterly. Okay, and then what do we do with this information? Let's move this to a better position here, like right here. VLOOKUP, lookup value would be this guy, the table array of this two, and then return the column index with approximate value. So after we've done that, make sure that it's actually an absolute table reference. For the reference table, and then we're gonna do that downward. So C2, it's referring to this, and then C3, C4, C5, C6, and it's all referring to the information of the direction of the wind. So southeasterly, southwesterly, and we could just copy this formula down to the bottom. Now we have all of that. Now we can actually use count if. Notice that previously I used count ifs because there's a multiple condition between the range of value. In this case, I have a reference table that use the VLOOKUP to result me in the direction, and then I can count by this. So the range would be this lot, and then the criteria would be the name. Oh, sorry. This lot, and the criteria would be the northeasterly. Okay, north, or I can do a, sorry about this, can do a criteria reference to this. So I have 18. Now, just to make sure that it's the same calculation with the COUNTIFs solution, I'm gonna copy for downwards. So 18, 19, 28, 27. For mine, the first solution, 18, 19, 28, 27. So it's the same result, yeah. So you can do either way. The reason why there's an alternative solution to this because is that they don't give you a specifications on what solution do they want. So I could bet that they would still accept both of the solution, be that the COUNTIFs or the VLOOKUP solution. What they want is that the formula is consistent and it can be used downwards. It can be used for all of the stuff. Don't forget, they again sometimes they don't give out a specific or direct instructions for you to create, but in cases like this table, you should see that it's centered. So it means that you need to put it centrally. Your table needs to be centered, and notice that it's also in bold, so we want to make it bold as well. Put it in centered, and then make sure that it is wrap text, and this one also should be centered. The number, I guess, looking at this, it should be centered as well. So direction of the wind, number of days, the highest wind with the highest wind gust, and then number of days, number off. Okay, so once you have the outlook the same with the example given, so I'm guessing this is good to go. Okay, we're not done yet. There's the second part to it, which is the number of days of main wind direction. So this is the main wind direction. We want to give an information as well. I'm going to delete this reference so that we are sticking to the first alternative. The first solution, yeah, not the alternative solution. Again, the alternative solution, or I'm going to keep it actually. The alternative solution is for the reference to be using another table that refer to the range, which is using a VLOOKUP. So this is the result: the COUNTIF, the VLOOKUP, the table reference for the data. Okay, this is just a number that I used earlier for counting how many records available. Okay, so same thing as the first one. We want to have a COUNTIFs here. So we're gonna do the first solution, which is similar to this guy, the first guy, but rather than using the first column information or the second column information, we're gonna use this second column information. Okay, so COUNTIF criteria range would be this, comma, the criteria would be more than equal to 0, and criteria range should be this again, comma, less than equal to 89. Okay, so 89. So the result is 35. So I'm gonna do the same thing, put an absolute for this piece of range of table information, and later I'm gonna do a copy and then change the value here into similar to what I have from the next table. Okay, this is 90, and sorry, 90 and 179. This one should be 180 and 269. 180 and 269, and this one would be 270, 360, 270, 360. So now we have 35, 10, 30, 17. So to make sure that I actually do it correctly for both, I'm gonna do another VLOOKUP here. The similar ways that I did for the first alternative solution. Table array would be coming from this column index return 2, and then the estimation or approximate value from here. And then, oh sorry, I should put it here instead. VLOOKUP value from here. Table range is from this guy, column index return 2, and then approximate value. So we have southwesterly for the main direction, and then make sure that it's absolute. So now I can copy this downwards, and after that we're gonna count if the range is actually this guy, and then we're gonna refer, right? We're gonna refer the formula, the same formula, but make sure that it's absolute, because we want to make sure the value range stay, but the criteria move downwards. So move from N2, N3, N4, N5. So result is 35, 10, 30, 17. Let's compare 35, 10, 30, 17. So we got that right. Fruit farmers need to protect breaks. Create carefully labeled comparative chart to display this information. Fully labeled comparative chart. Now, comparative chart would be something that is a bar chart, not a charts. It's not a pie chart. It's not a scatter graph. It's not a line graph, because you're comparing data from one to the other. So we want to use this data as the comparative data. So you make sure that you select the table and create a table chart. Bar chart. And then it says fully labeled. So you want to change all of this chart title to be. They don't give us the what the chart should be named as. So try to make it as close as possible. We have this, we have the comparison. There is no details or specification on what do they want in the chart, but you make sure that you change the label. They do have, or do not have actually, they do not have on the left side here an axis label. It's only the interval between the points. So you might want to add more to the axis title here. So you can say that this is the wind direction, or direction of the wind, and then on the left side is the number of days. Now it's complete. Now when you have this, and then when they said create a fully labeled comparative chart to display this information, I'm guessing it's not stopping into this one sheet. So instead of having it in this sheet, you want to select this and then move it to chart, and then object chart as a new sheet. Okay, so now you have a spreadsheet, or one of the sheets, to be a chart. Okay, here instead of here, and that's it. It's about 10 points that you get. Okay.